Good evening. Tonight we're going to continue with Lesson 6. I can use the area model and number line to represent mixed numbers with units of ones, tenths, hundredths, and fractions, and decimal forms. So just like we did when we were using fractions, we talked about mixed numbers, we saw something like this. 2 and 3/10. That would be a mixed number. And how does that look like as a decimal? Well, it has two holes, decimal. The tenths place has a 3 in it. So 2 and 3/10 is equivalent to 2 and 3/10 as a decimal. Shade the area models to represent the number, drawing horizontal lines to make hundredths as needed. Locate the corresponding point on the number line, label with a point, and record the mixed number as a decimal. All right, so we want to shade in these area models to represent 2 and 35 hundredths. So there's two holes, and then there's 35. The 5 would be in the hundredths place. So that would look like 2 holes and 35 hundredths. The 5's in the hundredths place. So basically, if we wanted to make this an expanded form, we could say 2 holes plus the 3/10 because the 3's in the tenths place, and then plus the 5, which is in the hundredths place. All right, so how's that going to look like when we make this into our area models? Well, we could color in one hole, because we have 2 holes. I'm going to color in another hole, again, because we have two holes right here. It's 2 holes. Then it's saying that we actually have to now color in 35 hundredths. So this represents tenths. So if we color this in, this would be 10. So let's do that. This is 10. This is 20. This is 30. Now I can't make another one because that would be 40. So what I have to do is I have to take, because we're in the hundredths, I have to now cut this piece up into another tenths to make a hundredths. All right, so I just cut up that next 10th place here into another 10, which would really be, because 10 times 10 equals 100. So now I'm only going to shade in 5 of this, because the 5 is in the hundredths place, but there's 35. We represented 10, 20, 30, and we can only color in 5 of these. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this represents 2 and 35 hundredths. Pretty cool, right? Well, let's see now if we can actually place it on the number line. All right, so now we're going to put down 2. Let's get my pen. Whoa. Let's get my pen. 2 and 35 hundredths. That's what we want to place. So we know that we have 2 holes. So right here is a hole, 2 holes, 3 holes. So we know that we found, this is 2 because it's 2 holes, and we know 35 hundredths going to be past it. So we're going to be in between this 2 holes and 3 holes. This is where we're going to have to place this decimal. So let's see. Let's count, because this is broken up into tenths. 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, 9/10, and this makes the next hole 10/10. So let's locate, because the 3 is in the tenths place, let's locate that on the number line. Well, it would be right here, would represent 2 and 3/10. But we're not quite to 2 and 4/10. We are in between that, because this next one right here is going to be 2 and 4/10. So we know that we're going to be in between this section right here, between 2 and 3/10 and 2 and 4/10. So this is going to be really tiny. So what we want to do is we kind of want to scroll in here. Whoops. kind of zoom in. And now really, look at that. Really now break that up into another tenths. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Look at that. Really tiny. And we see that it's going to basically be that halfway point, right? That halfway point between 2 and 3 tenths and 2 and 4 tenths, because it's halfway. That has that 35, has that 5 point in it. So if we look at this, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. There's our 5. So that is where our place is. This represents 2 and 35 hundredths. It's halfway in between 2 and 3 tenths and 2 and 4 tenths. You cannot believe how small that we're talking about when it comes to, look at that, guys. That is very small when we're talking about the hundredths. This is right here broken up into tenths, and then we're zooming in. Look how small the hundredths is compared to the tenths. Woo, a lot of fun. Excellent. So let's move on. Write the equivalent fraction and decimal for each of the following numbers. So we've got this unit form here of 2 ones and 2 hundredths. So this looks like right here, 2 ones represents 2 wholes, and then 2 hundredths. It looks like by looking at this, we do not have a tenths. So let's set it up. We've got 2 wholes, and 2 is in the numerator, and it says hundredths, so we know the denominator is going to have 100. Now that represents the equivalent fraction, but now let's try to find the decimal. So we know that we have 2 wholes, so that goes to the left of the decimal, and now to the right of the decimal we have to represent 2 hundredths. But there is no tens. We have to make sure we put a 0 to show we do not have any tenths. But we do, however, have 2 hundredths. So here we just showed the mixed fraction is equivalent to the decimal of 2 and 2 hundredths. Continuing, let's write the equivalent fraction decimal for each of the following. 2 ones and 16 hundredths now. All right, so what is this going to look like as a fraction? Well, the fraction we know is we're going to have 2 wholes. This is going to be our mixed number. With 16 in the numerator, and it's in the hundredths place. That 6 is in the hundredths place. But if we were to try to break this down, we could separate this and say there's 2 wholes plus there's a 1 in the tenths place, and there is a 6 in the hundredths place. So we kind of just broke that whole mixed number down. But now what we want to do is we want to show that 2 and 16 hundredths is equivalent to what decimal? Well, we know we have 2 wholes, so we're going to put 2 to the left of the decimal. And we know that the 6 is in the hundredths place. We have 1 in the tenths and 6 in the hundredths. So 2 and 16 hundredths. This is how they are equivalent. Okay, write the equivalent fraction decimal for each one of these. We have 9 ones and 62 hundredths. So let's make this into a mixed number. We've got 9 wholes and 62 hundredths. That's our mixed number. And if we tried to break this down, we would say 9 wholes. How much in the tenths? Well, we have 6 tenths. And how many hundredths do we have? We have 2 in the hundredths place. So that shows how we break this mixed number down. But now let's change it and make an equivalent decimal to 9 and 62 hundredths. 9 goes to the left of the decimal. We have 6 in the tenths and 2 in the hundredths. All right, we're going to kind of connect the dots here. We're going to try to find 4 ones, 1800s. Where is that located in this section here? So we have it right here. 4 ones and 1800s is there, 4.18. And then how does that look like as a mixed number? Well, it's equal to 4 and 1800s. Then we have 4 ones and 800s. Well, there looks like there's no tenths. So here is 4 and 800s because the 8 is in the hundreds place and we have no tens. And where does that look like? In our mixed number right there, 4 and 800s. Next one says 4 ones and 8 tenths. Well, 4 ones and 8 tenths. That's going to go here, 4 ones and 8 tenths because the 8 is in the tenths place. And where is that on our mixed number? Well, that goes down here because it's equivalent. Remember I told you when we can divide the top and the bottom by 10? And if we do that, we can get 4 and 8 tenths. And the last one, 4 tens and 8 ones. Okay, so 4 tens and 8 ones. Well, that doesn't seem like we're doing anything with mixed numbers. So this one's connected to here, 4 to 48. Oops. To 48. And there's our mix. All right, here's a cool meme. Give it your best shot. I dare you. Do you accept my dare? First problem tonight. Continue doing what we've been practicing. We're going to write the equivalent fraction and the decimal. Here's your unit form. 3 ones and 700ths. What does that look like as a mixed number, equivalent fraction, and a decimal? Second one, again, equivalent fraction and a decimal for 8 1 and 1800ths. And last one, give me an equivalent fraction and a decimal for 6 ones, 2000ths. Ah, I knew you could do it. Congratulations. Have a wonderful night.